Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to show you how to put in this solar racking system. Now this racking system is super simple. It's made by Powers Solar Frames out of Arizona, and we got it from Signature Solar in Sulphur Springs, Texas. We're going to show you how to lay it out and then how to erect it. So depending on where you live, you're going to need to calculate what the best direction is to face your solar panels. And generally, that's in a direct south or southwest facing direction. And for us, directly south is going to angle our solar rack right through our grapes right here. So we are actually going to turn it to be maybe 15 degrees towards the west. Now, a lot of research out there says that that is better. Never face it toward the east, but facing it toward the west can actually increase your solar production. So we grabbed the compass on our phone and we made an X here on the ground in a perfectly north-south, east-west direction. So from there, we experimented turning it toward the west a bit. The line next to it is at 195 degrees, which is 15 degrees toward the west. And for us, the way our large trees are oriented on the property, that's going to be the best. And it is in that southwesterly direction, which is optimal. Now we do have our power pole in the background, and we need to stay at least 15 feet away from that. Just make sure wherever you are digging, you call MISDIG first, you get all that information, you understand the easements and the distances around power lines, power poles, and all that before you start digging. Once we get the location for that first post, we are going to use our auger on our tractor to start drilling holes. So once we determined the angle, we drove some rebar into the ground and ran some contractor string between the two. That is going to be our line that we are going to dig the holes for our columns. So our panels are 82.5 inches wide. So each column is going to have to be set between 82.5 inches and 82 7/8. So you can be off just a little bit and make up the difference in there, but you have to be as precise as you possibly can in placing these columns. So you need to be really precise when putting these columns in. Make sure they're perfectly plumb and the correct distance apart, because if you're too far apart, your panel's not going to fit in between. And let's hope I don't hit any water lines today. These things are like magnets for water lines, and usually that's my luck. So we've got our first column in the ground. That is about where we wanted it, but sometimes those augers on the back of a tractor can kind of move around a little bit. So what we're going to do is adjust our string a tiny bit after we've put this and leveled it. So we've got one of these magnetic post levels right here, which is really, really nice, and just sticks on there and we can level it off. And what I've done down here is I've made this brace out of scrap treated, and then this last portion here I put in some rebar pieces to hold it, and it's holding it square and level where I want it, and plumb. So before we do any of the other columns, I'm going to set this one in concrete. Now for these holes, it should take about 5 or 6 bags to fill it up. They are 3 feet deep, and you're going to need to pay attention to any change in elevation along your racking system. You might have one that's 3 feet in the ground. You might have on the other end one that's 3'6". So just make sure that every single solitary top of each column is perfectly dead level with the next one. That is what's most important. So now I need to dig the other holes and set the other columns. When I'm done with that, we will be showing you how to put the beams on, attach them up at the top. Once you get your columns or posts in the ground, you can put on your support beams. All it is these 2 large 1.5-inch bolts. We've got our next support beam laying on the ground here. Let me show you how we did it by ourselves. So we've got a ladder here for some added extra support. You can see I can reach the top here. This is about 6.5 feet tall, give or take. and I'm just going to lift that support beam up into place, stick a bolt right through it so it hangs on. And it's pretty nice. It's got this lip up here at the top, so you can actually set that on the top of your column and get a little extra support. But you can just walk it up sitting on that lip until you match the holes up. Make sure you have your bolt and your nut staged, maybe on the ladder. Mine was in my pocket, a little difficult to get out. So stage them in a good place where you can just grab them, stick it right through the hole. Don't forget that washer, the big washer that comes with it, goes on the outside. In this instance, it worked out easier to put it through the slotted hole first. If you want, you can come up with some sort of mechanical lever to get it up there, but honestly, it's pretty easy. The part that actually is going to take a little bit more muscle is utilizing your wrench and your socket to actually crank down on those bolts. They're lock nuts on there and they are very, very tough. So this is going to take a little bit and some arm strength, but you can do it. So when you're putting this together, I don't know if you can see it, but we've got a slight breeze today, and these support beams are kind of flexing a lot in the wind. They are fairly flexible, and that's actually a good thing, because when we set this post in, it is a slight bit twisted. I don't know how that happened, but that mistake of ours can be overcome. And that's because when you're doing these, you can actually flex this, pull it over a little bit. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but flex these, pull it over a little bit, and we are going to connect our solar panels. I did a measurement up at the top. We've got about 79 inches, and down here it's about 85 inches. So pulling this one over a little bit, securing one of our panels here at the bottom is going to give us the proper width all the way up. So when you're doing this, I can't stress more that you have to be super precise, and that was told to me by John, one of the founders of Signature Solar, where we got this. Make sure you use a post level, a line level down here at the bottom. Mark and measure on every single one of your posts. Get everything level at the top. If you're a little out of level at the top from post to post, that's okay. Your solar panels are gonna kind of do this, but you really want to try your hardest to get everything perfect. And as always with all of my videos, I will link in the description below all the tools that I used for this job. And as you can see here, there's always going to be something that comes up. We hit a water line. This water line was not where we thought it was. We thought it was about 14 feet that way. I guess not. We went right through it, right where our post needs to be. So as you can see, you just have to overcome little issues like this. No big deal. And I'm going to use this cardboard as kind of a sonotube to pour the concrete in, set the column in, because I do not want that water line coming in contact with the concrete. And if the structure moves or anything like that, it could crack the line again. So if that happens to you, keep the two separate. So the majority of our rack is up. We are going to start to put our panels onto those beams. We're going to show you how to do that. So this is the bracket that you're going to use to attach your panels to your beams. It's got this alligator kind of clip here at the top with a carriage bolt through there. You're going to tighten this down and it slides back and forth here for adjustment. And that's going to clamp on to the side of the solar panel and the lip that's on the beam right there. And then at the bottom here, you're going to use two self-tapping screws to screw it into the side of the beam. So this is how it's going to go on here. It's going to sit just like that. Your self-tappers are going to go through the side right there, and this is going to clamp to this lip and to the lip on the back of the solar panel. So as you can see behind me, I have a loosely draped ratchet strap across both beams. And that's to give me a little bit of stability so that these beams don't flex out of the way when I'm trying to put that solar panel on them. So we have very large solar panels. These are the Solar Ever 440s from Signature Solar, and they are 40 7/8 inches long. I should say wide. So when you stack them all together, it's going to be 17 feet and 3/8 inches. Now each one of these beams is exactly 15 feet long. So you are going to be hanging over a foot and 3/16 of an inch on each end. You could probably adjust that a little bit, but I wouldn't go too much. So unless you buy the same panels that I do, you are going to have to adjust the width between each column and understand how many panels you can get on each one of these beams. So when you're putting these brackets on, don't snug it up underneath the lip super tight, because then you won't be able to slide this little alligator clip back and forth, and you're going to need to do that because you need to turn it to get the panel on there and then put it back on like that to clamp down on the lip of the solar panel. This kit that I got from them comes with self-tapping screws, all these brackets. Like I said, you need 4 of these brackets per panel. So once you get that first panel on, it's going to be much easier to put on each subsequent panel because you can just stack it on the top of it and it will rest on the top of the other panel. So there's no futzing around and trying to get it lined up properly. Just continue to stack them all the way up. Now you might need to adjust the first one just a little bit. Make sure you've got the same distance from the top to the bottom. Just make a mark, you'll be good to go. Hey, if you're interested in helping out our family and our channel, head below the video and check out our merchandise. These t-shirts are super comfortable. We'd love for you to have one. So I've got a lot more work to do, but you've seen all the steps that you need in order to put together this solar rack yourself. I can't say enough about all of these components and the company that I got them from, Signature Solar. Now head below the video in the description and click on the link to Signature Solar. They have everything that you need for your solar system, and they will help you out with any questions that you have. Well, I need to get back to work. Now click on this video right here, which talks about the very first steps you need to take to figure out your solar system, and it also talks about all the components that we chose for ours. Have a great day. We love you. See you next time. Bye.